Please welcome Dr. Joe Biden.
Thank you. Hello, Johnstown. Now, as most of you know, I'm a Philly girl. And I've often heard that Eastern and Western Pennsylvania have a lot to disagree on. Like, okay, Flyers versus Penguins, Steelers versus Eagles, Sheets versus Wawa. But I know that there's two areas that we can agree on. Number one is that we all want to see the Patriots lose. And number two is that when push comes to shove, we're all Pennsylvanians at heart. So I'm glad to be here with all of you in my home state. As many of you may know, I've been a professor of English and writing for more than 35 years now. Oh, are you a teacher? How many teachers are out here? Thank you, teachers, for your support. So in my English classes, we talk a lot about the power of stories and how they can shape our identity. And they can isolate us, or they can make us angry or afraid. But we have other positive stories to tell, too. And one of those stories is my dad's. He was a signalman in World War II. And just like so many veterans and military families, my dad's service shaped the rest of his life. How many military family members are out here? Thank you. Thank you for your service. So my dad was from a working class family. The grandson of Gaetano and Concetta Giacoppa, Italian immigrants who came here for a better life. And thanks to the GI Bill, my dad was able to go to business school in Philadelphia. And he eventually became a bank president when my mother stayed home and raised 5 daughters. So that was my family's American dream, a life where military service meant educational opportunities, where with hard work, the grandson of immigrants and the son of my grandpapa was a delivery man, could join the middle class and could have a career that he really felt proud of. But my family wasn't unique. Just a few hours away in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Joe saw the power of the American dream in his own family. A boy from Irish immigrants who would one day become vice president and run for the highest office in the land. In so many ways, this election is about those stories and how to make sure that every family in America has the same opportunities that Joe and I had. But right now, we're falling short. Over these last few years, so many Americans have talked to me about what keeps them up at night. They're worried about paying for your prescriptions, working multiple jobs to cover their bills, scared that a shooting could happen at their child's school. And now, grieving the devastation of this pandemic. There are those who want to tell us that our nation is just hopelessly divided, that our differences are irreconcilable, that our communities are fractured and beyond repair. And beneath that, there's another message. Not that one. Your voice can't fix it. Your voice won't change it. And how about this one? It is what it is. Remember Trump said that about all the people who have died from the pandemic? Just look at what we've seen over these last few months. We're coming together and we're holding on to each other. We're finding mercy and grace in the moments that we might once have taken for granted. We're seeing that our differences are precious and that our similarities are infinite. Democrat and Republican, urban and rural, our communities are showing that the heart of this nation still beats with kindness and courage. We don't agree on everything, and we know we don't have to. We can still love and respect each other. We care more about people than politics. And we know we're not fractured. We're not broken. We're just becoming something new. We just need steady leadership to help us heal and move us forward. And didn't you see that last night in the debate against Donald Trump? That's my husband, Joe Biden, that steady, calm leader. He will be a president for all Americans, and he has a plan for all Americans. He and Kamala Harris have the fortitude to lead us out of Donald Trump's chaotic America. They have the character to help us heal and the vision to rebuild for a future that is better than ever. But they can't do it without you. Because this is it, guys. This is it. There are no do-overs. We can't sit back and just watch what happens. We have to decide what happens. Thank you. Cynics played our fears. They tell us we can't make a difference because they don't want us to try. They know that together, our voices are more powerful than they ever could be. And we have to show them our power. We have to believe that our communities are stronger than the challenges that we face. Because you are. We have to believe that our votes matter because they do. We have to show up right now, put our shoulders back, and work like we've never worked before and fight for our country. So will you join us? Will you prove the cynics wrong? Will you help show us that our nation will never settle for less than our highest aspirations? Will you stand with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Because when you do, Pennsylvania, I know that we will win. So thank you for all that you do for your communities. Thank you for showing up now when it matters the most. And most of all, thank you for your faith in an idea that's bigger than any one of us. And that is that we will build a better nation because we're going to do this together. So thank you, Pennsylvania. So now, I think I'm supposed to introduce my husband. So, Joe, where are you? Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, okay. Maybe somebody else's. Thank you.
Please welcome Brian Smith, a maintenance worker at the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown.
Good evening. I'm Brian Smith, born and raised here in Johnstown, a place I'm proud to call home. I'm a proud union maintenance tech at the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown for the last 20 years. Right on. I'm even more proud to represent our SEIU 32BJ members on the job as a shop steward. My good union job has made me raising my family in the place I love, where my family is, and possible when I come home from 6 years of active duty service with the Navy Seabees at the end of the first Gulf War. I worked construction jobs. I was fortunate to find a union job in a local foundry as a steel worker. When our steel industry left our area and those living wage, family feeding, middle class jobs left our area, I wasn't sure if we'd be able to make it on the social service jobs that were available. I felt so fortunate to find union work at UPJ, doing the work I love in carpentry, electrical, and plumbing. The wages and benefits provided by this job allowed my wife and I to stay here and grow our family with the health care and medical leave that we needed to keep our family healthy and to be caregivers for my aging parents. Because of my good union job, our son graduated from UPJ and our daughter is in her sophomore year, a benefit that not only provided their tuition, but will impact their success and earning potential throughout their lives. I'm proud to serve my members on the job every day, and I'm proud of my wife's and mine military service. We come from a long family of history, military service. We have the strongest military in the world because we understand that our military is only strong as our weakest link. The same goes for our unions, brothers and sisters. And we need a commander-in-chief that will strive for that unity to strengthen our country instead of creating division, only weakening our collective power. I know who will be that leader for the working people, and that is Vice President Biden. And I say welcome to the great city of Johnstown. Thank you.
Hello, Johnstown. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Well, thank you. I tell you what, I first came to Johnstown, and it was all Democrat. And guess what? It's going to be Johnstown, and this county is going to be Democrat again after this election. It's good to be back, man. I tell you what, it's been an incredible day. We started this morning in Cleveland, Ohio, where just last night I had a truly unique experience of debating whatever his name was, Donald Trump. Oh, man. And from there, we've been in communities all across Ohio and Western Pennsylvania, and we're finishing up right here in Johnstown tonight. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for being here. We call Lieutenant Governors who aren't from governors. So, Governor, thanks for being here, and thank your wife as well, and all the local elected officials and leaders for joining us today. And Brian, thank you for your years of service and your wife's service to our country, the United States Navy, and for sharing your stories with us. You know, last night, the President of the United States was reminded that he said that our veterans were losers and suckers. Remember, no, I'm serious about this. Like your family, my son spent a year in Iraq. By the way, that's a good thing. It's still running. That's a good thing. And Lake, he came back decorated with the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal. And I thought it was despicable that Donald Trump referred to everyone from my friend and colleague and my competitor, John McCain, straight through to my son and others. It's despicable. The man doesn't deserve to be Commander-in-Chief of the United States military. But I want to thank the good people at Amtrak who have been keeping me moving today, quite frankly, my whole career. I started by taking the train when I got elected as a 29-year-old kid to the United States Senate. I started going back and forth every single day so I could be home in Wilmington every night with my 2 young boys as a single dad after I lost my wife. 2 hours each way, nearly 250 miles every day. So I could be there for breakfast with the boys. Wasn't Ozzie and Harriet stuff, it was just sort of, cornflakes. But at least I got to be there and later with my daughter, kiss them good morning, and go home and kiss them good night. That train brought me back to my home base every single night, to my family. It kept me grounded. It kept me connected. It meant I always remembered what and who really mattered in my life. And riding that train all those miles every day, and I've spent, as the conductors have informed me, over 2,100,000 miles on Amtrak. At least they should have named they said, Biden, they named a station after you. They should have named the whole damn road after me all those times. All kidding aside, but seriously, it's a true story. I'd ride home at night after a debate in the United States Senate about fair tax policy or about health care or about unions that I was fighting for. And I'd look out, I really mean this, I'd look out like I did coming from Cleveland today. I'd look out at all those homes I'd pass, those middle-class neighborhoods like I was raised in. I was raised in like a lot of you, I expect, in a 3-bedroom home, split-level house, 4 kids, mom, dad, and a grandpop living with us. And I tell you what, I'd wonder if they were having the same conversations my mom and dad had when we were growing up. Sitting there wondering, honey, we need 4 new tires on the car. We can't afford it. Got to wait another couple months before we can get them. Or, who's going to tell them we might not have the money to help them go back to the university this semester? Who's going to say it? Or maybe we're going to have to worry about whether or not they turn the electricity off because we're behind on our bill because the job changed or I lost my health insurance. They're the conversations that people having today. Fact of the matter is, the vast majority of people in the middle class, over 50%, said if they got a bill for $400, it was unexpected in 1 month, that they have to borrow the money or sell something to pay it. I think about their struggles and their worries. I think about their hopes and their dreams. I talked to the other passengers on the train, and I got pretty friendly with some of the conductors. I learned about their lives and their families. It was a constant reminder that every single person has their own unique story, their own journey. And in my experience, everyone just looking for a chance, not a guarantee, just a chance to get ahead, just a fair shot, an equal opportunity to pursue their dreams. And that dream's getting further and further out of reach for so many folks here in Johnstown, my hometown of Scranton, Claymont, where I was raised. It's getting harder and harder. And that's what I've seen today at every stop on that train. From the folks who joined me on this trip, I spent time with a dedicated elementary school teacher from Lordstown, Ohio, who spoke about how the GM plant Remember, the president said, don't sell your homes. Everything's going to be okay in Lordstown. Everything's going to stay. But that GM plant closed. And guess what? It devastated the whole community. About how her own husband had to accept a transfer to a plant in Kentucky, an 8-hour drive each way, only home on the weekends, just in order to maintain his health care and his pension. Now he drives 16 hours every weekend to see her and the kids. I listened to an incredible young woman, a mother of 4 at home, a health aide, and a nursing student, talk about how worried she is that no one is looking out for the caregivers in this country. The people who, so many of them, have literally risked and given their lives so that we'd be okay, especially during this pandemic. I saw steel workers and iron workers whose union brothers and sisters built Pittsburgh, the famous bridges, proud operating engineers who keep the engines of our economy pumping. I heard from union members who've gotten a raw deal so many times, and so many more at every stop that I met. Just hard-working people like all of you. Well, folks, the folks who played by the rules, paid their fair share their whole lives, folks who've never asked for a single thing to be given to them, just a chance to earn it. Folks, there couldn't be a more stark difference from what I saw last night in that debate stage. Self-entitled, self-serving president who thinks everything is about him. He thinks that if he just yells louder and louder, throws out lie after lie after lie, he'll get his way. He thinks we'll forget. Well, he picked the wrong guy. I don't forget. I don't forget that in February, he's on tape as acknowledging he knew how serious this pandemic was. He knew how quickly it would spread, the thousands of people it could kill. But he forgot to say a single thing to us. He kept it secret because he's more worried about the stock market collapsing than about the over 205,000 people who have died. He didn't say a word. What did he tell us? He said it'll be gone by Easter. It will go away in the warm weather. He told us it would just go away like a miracle. And then maybe, if we injected bleach in our arm, we may be okay. He thinks we'll forget about how badly he mismanaged this pandemic and cost us more so far than 205,000 lives and counting. Almost 30 million people on unemployment insurance. He thinks we'll forget the reasons our businesses and our schools are closed is because he took no responsibility. He's a complete failure. He didn't get the people, the PPE, the resources they need to be able to reopen safely. He didn't speak to you or the American people about the concerns. Not even once last night did he say a word about anything. Seriously, think about it. Not once. It's not only the trail of broken promise and lies. He told communities like Johnstown and all across the industrial Midwest, it's more than that. As Jill said, I said last night, when he learned that 1,000 people a day were dying, what was his comment? He said, it is what it is. Well, that's because he is who he is. And then, when he ran, he told us how much he cared about people like my family and yours, the places we come from. You know what his staff reported him saying? This is about 3 weeks ago. The truth is, he said that he in fact thinks we're all losers. He doesn't respect, no. Behind closed doors, it's been reported that he called his own supporters, working class folks, that the Democrats around the way began to forget about. What he called them, his supporters, quote, disgusting. He's the same guy who let you earn a couple bucks parking cars in his country club, but even if you had the money, he wouldn't allow you to join. They look down the nose at working families trying to do it right. And it's been confirmed by multiple sources. They think that those of us who sign up and put our country put our lives on the line, our veterans, as I mentioned earlier, are just suckers and losers. I really mean it, man. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. It's absolutely despicable. And I'll tell you, by the way, 6 of his generals who work for him all say he's not worthy of being president of the United States of America. His own generals. I'll tell you right now, it's not how I was raised, not how you were raised, not how the vast majority of Americans who break their neck every day just wanting to get a fair shake were raised. By the way, Donald Trump can only see the world from Park Avenue. He cares only what the super rich and connected think. He only sees value in stock portfolios. I don't own a single share of stock. I had the dubious distinction when I got elected, maybe that's why he doesn't like me very much, being listed as the poorest man in Congress for 36 years. You think I'm joking? I'm not proud of it, but it's true. Because I didn't think you're supposed to earn money while you're in politics. In addition to that, when I got elected to the vice presidency, there's a headline in the paper saying, it's probable no man has ever assumed the office of vice president with fewer assets than Joe Biden. I don't think he was speaking intellectual. Well, guess what? His only metric is how the economy is doing, is Dow Jones. It doesn't matter if communities like Johnstown are still hurting, and he doesn't have a plan to help you or get back on your feet or deliver relief to the people who most need help. He's too busy planning for his next big tax giveaway to the 100, this is a true story. Billionaires made $300 billion more in this pandemic. Fact. And now, you know what his new tax plan is? He's proposing another $30 billion tax cut for billionaires by reducing what they call capital gains to 15%. They'll be making billions and paying at a lower rate than a firefighter, a school teacher and a firefighter together. Lower rate. The 100 richest folks in this country, are in fact own more wealth than about half the population. You know, it's time when nearly 30 million people are on unemployment. 100 million people, he's trying to take away your health care. 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. He's going to court a week after the election to try to eliminate the Affordable Care Act. By the way, if I tried to, we made a movie about this, they think it's just all fake, it couldn't be possible. In the middle of this pandemic, when you have 7 million people infected, 40,000 a day becoming infected, 750 to 1,000 a day dying, and his one goal is take away health care. Not a joke. 10 million people have already lost the health care provided by the employers because the employers have gone out of business. 10 million. and 20 million people. If he gets his way, I think it's on November the 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th when they go to the Supreme Court. 10th, they'll lose. 20 million people will lose their health insurance. More than 100 million people with pre-existing conditions will, in fact, be charged more for their coverage. You know, what's going to happen is, in addition to that, when they eliminate the Affordable Care Act, we're going to be able to charge women more money for the same procedures men get charged for. No, not a joke. That's what the law he wants to eliminate will do. Pregnancy will become, again, not a joke, a pre-existing condition, which you get charged a great deal more for. Folks, you know, we can't let that happen. He's too busy trying to salvage his founder and re-election campaign to understand that people don't want a superficial temporary tax cut on their withholding tax, because guess what? It gets taken out of Social Security. You know what the Social Security actuary said? If his plan goes through, Social Security will be totally bankrupt by 2023. I know this sounds ridiculous. Remember I told you, when Paul Ryan was there, they wanted to cut Medicaid and cut Social Security? That was in their budget. That's what they want to do. I don't know where these guys come from. Look, I've dealt with guys like Trump my whole life. Guys who look down on us because they've got a lot of money, inherited it. Guys who think they're better than you. Guys who, as I said, might let you park your car in a country club they own, but never let you join or come in. Guys who inherited everything they've ever gotten and then squandered it. I see the world from where I grew up in Scranton. Not a joke. You see it from a different perspective, but Johnstown, or any town we stopped in today, is filled with people who are busting their necks to do right by their families every day. They aren't worried about the stock market. They're worried about putting food on the table every night. They're worried about making the rent. They're worried about being 20 million people are worried they won't be able to pay their mortgage payment this month. 20 million. My mom used to always say, Jean Finnegan Biden from Scranton, she said, Joey, remember, look at me, Joey. Nobody is better than you, but everyone is your equal. He doesn't get that. When my dad had to leave Scranton when there were no jobs and moved to Wilmington, he didn't have to commute like the woman I met today, her husband, 8 hours each way, but he had to commute back and forth from Wilmington every weekend, and that was only a 3.5-hour drive each way. But when we got to Delaware and finally were able to buy a house 3 years later, my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. That's what was missing today. Providing dignity to the work we do. Those are the values that shape my life. And when it gets down to it, I think this whole campaign gets down to Park Avenue versus Scranton, Park Avenue versus Johnstown. Trump may think there ought to be a different set of rules for him and his rich buddies. Rules that get them out of taxes, get them out of responsibilities, get them out of consequences for every one of the mistakes they make. But I don't think so. I think it's about time we start rewarding work and not wealth. I think it's about time families get a break and the super wealthy and corporate America start paying their fair share. You know, they're still going to do well even if they pay their fair share. But here's what I know. Donald Trump will never understand. Wall Street didn't build this country. CEOs didn't. The middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. That's why my plans are about helping communities like Johnstown and Scranton and Claymont and places I grew up to build back better. I'm here today to say to you But I'll do as president what Donald Trump hasn't. I'll fight for you. Not for the corporations, you, your jobs, your families. Not only going to build back, we'll build back better. It's all about injecting life and capital back into places like Johnstown. And it starts with a simple proposition: buy American. The federal government spends $600 billion of your taxpayers' money every single year on everything from military equipment to steel railings to buildings to highways, cars and trucks and federal fleets. When I'm president, we're going to make sure that every one of those products, every single piece that goes into any of those contracts is made and built in America. I'm serious. We can do this. And then Trump's incentive to send jobs overseas, any company in my administration offshores jobs, % penalty. And any company that brings jobs back or reopens a closed factory like those around Johnstown will get a 10% credit and an incentive to build back. Look, we're going to direct billions of dollars in revitalization funds and competitive grants to help places like Johnstown compete for new businesses and startups. We're going to make 4 years of public education, 2 years of community college free for families making less than $125,000. We're going to lower health care costs by increasing subsidies for your premiums so they're lower, slashing the cost of prescription drugs by literally as much as 60%. And you say, how you do that, Joe? Well, we're going to do a system that sets up an expert panel of 25 people for every new drug that comes on the market. You have to go before that group of experts. They'll set the price based on your investment, just like you do for utility. And you cannot raise that price ever again beyond the cost of medical inflation. We're going to take on the opioid crisis for real, effective treatment for substance use disorders. We're going to do it all without raising a penny in taxes for anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year. If you make more than $400,000, I'm going to raise your taxes. So raise your hand. Maybe you didn't believe me that I could do that without raising taxes on the middle class. But I'll bet that's before you found out that the billionaire Donald Trump only paid $750 in income tax. If Trump and his Park Avenue pals start paying their fair share, we'll have more than enough money to finally build an economy that works for everybody. So I promise you this: I see you. I hear you. I respect you. I grew up with you. And the families of those more than 200,000 Americans who have died in this pandemic will be heard and respected by me. I'll work like crazy to get this pandemic under control so we can get our economy working again for everyone and get back our lives. We're a nation in incredible pain right now. So many empty chairs around the dining table tonight because somebody's been lost in the family. So many businesses closed, the doors closed forever because the money that the Congress voted to get to small businesses went to his friends, his rich friends on Wall Street. So many proud people on unemployment for the first time in their lives, not able to get the kind of health unemployment insurance that we initially passed in the Congress. As my wife said, this is not a partisan moment. This is an American moment. No, I really mean it. We can't afford to go on being divided. We can't afford to have a leader who does nothing but throw gasoline on the anger and hatred that's burning this country. We have to come together. Look, I promise you all this. I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I will be an American president. I'll fight as hard for those who support me as those who did not. I promise you this. I'll fight for you. That's what we need right now. The president will try to bring us together. Will speak to what is best in all of us rather than try to divide us. Put that dog whistle out on racism. Did you hear what he said last night? When he was asked by the Fox commentator, would he condemn white supremacy, which the FBI says is a serious threat to terrorism in America today. He said, well, of course, I'm against all bad things. I said, how about the Proud Boys? He said, the Proud Boys. He said, well, I'll tell you what. I'll just tell them to stand down, but stand by. Go online. The Proud Boys now have a logo saying, stand down, but stand by. As they said in the newspaper today, that rivals Vladimir Putin. Not a joke. To, in fact, threaten that if he doesn't win, there'll be violence. Look, we got to stop pitting ourselves against one another. We're one people. We're one nation, one America. We need to remember who in God's name we are. This is the United States of America. In our long history, there's been nothing ever. Think about this. In every crisis we've ever had, there's not been a single thing we've been unable to overcome. Nothing. When we act together, when we've done it together. Folks, I am so optimistic about what the country is ready to do. No, I really am. I think we're ready to stand up. I think the blinders have been taken off the American people. They understand what's at stake. We can own the 21st century. We are, as Madeleine Albright said, the essential country. We can and must lead the world again. We've not only led the world by the example of our power, but the power of our example. Why does the rest of the world follow us? Because of who we are, what we stand for, our example. And it's being trashed all over the world. There's a recent Pew poll done by major nations in the major nations of the world. Donald Trump, as president, this is not a joke, check it online. Donald Trump is less respected than President Xi and Putin. Can you imagine that? So, folks, look, as I said, this is the United States of America. We can do anything, and we're about to do it. With your help, the grace of God, and goodwill of our neighbors, as my grandpa would say, we're coming back. So God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. We are coming back this year. 30-some days. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Both back. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.